nerf this.
Hey guys, welcome back to Clash with Cory. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification bell. We're going to jump right into it. I'm bringing you guys a Falcon guide right now because I just six-packed with it in CWL Invite War against Spartan's Legacy. I'm pretty pumped up right now because that war just finished, and I'm just going to tell you guys, we got the win. Huge win. Spartan's Legacy is an incredibly talented clan, and you know, anytime you're facing them, that you're in for a battle, and we managed to pull it out, so I'm really pumped. But this is not a recap. Let's get into the Falcon. All right, first of all, is Falcon still relevant? It died mostly when Siege Machines came out because Siege Machines were so powerful, and it's hard to find a way to work a Siege Machine into a Falcon. But on the right type of base, Falcon is one of the most reliable attacks out there. So we're going to go over today what to look for in a base that's Falconable, and then we're going to look at all the other stuff that goes into it as well. Pathing, you know, where are they going to go? What do you do with a wall wrecker? You know what I mean? If it's not that effective on the beginning push, we're going to talk about how to use it on the backside. So we're going to go over all that stuff because, like I said, on the right type of base, it's very reliable, and I've gotten pretty good at spotting the good Falcon bases, and I've used it 4 times in CWL Invite so far this year, and I've tripled all 4 of those attacks. So on the right type of base, I'm going to show you how to identify them, and every time you see one of them, you're going to get a triple too. With that, let's get right into it. We're going to go over base ID, planning it, spells, all that good stuff. Now, what I look for on a Falcon base, first and foremost, is going to be a proper entry, and that means you want to be able to get the Valks in there, the bowlers in there, and getting the Valks in there is pretty easy. You just got to clear the buildings on the outside, you know what I'm saying? And there's nothing out here, so obviously Valks are going to go in, but the key to getting bowlers in the base is dead space inside of the base. If bowlers can't reach anything over here, then they're not going to go walking this way. They're going to go directly into the base right there. So I'm looking for dead space on bases, all right, first of all, and because dead space can be a really good spot to get your bowlers inside the base. Now, of course, you definitely still have to funnel the outside buildings, and part of that Falcon is getting a queen walk into your Valks and bowlers, and that way the healers can, you know, they can stay with the queen. That's fine. Obviously, you got a well-healed queen in there, or they can transfer off to the Valks and bowlers, keep them healed up as they're raging through that base and just really demolishing it. So you got to look for a good spot to enter your Valks and bowlers, especially a good spot to funnel the bowlers inside the base, which we have with this dead space, and a good spot to queen walk, all right? Now, I'm just going to start my queen walk right over on this side and just have her kind of walk this way. It doesn't have to be a long walk. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. So I'm going to clear that stuff right there. That's the plan, and then I'm going to enter in Valks and bowlers right here, and look at the pathing they have through the rest of this base because of that dead space. One of the things you want to look for is, are they going to be able to access 2/3 of the base with your Valks and bowlers push? And you can see from, you know, what we got in here, yes, absolutely they're going to be able to access all that stuff. Now, one thing to take into consideration, they're not going to spread out evenly and take this all out, okay? They're going to go to one side or the other, especially with this long compartment right here. So they're going to go like this way here and take out all this, or, you know, on the other side, they could go that way. So how I planned for my wall wrecker on the back end of this base was I draw a straight line. I use an app called Screen Master for Android. You can use Sketch if you're an Apple user too, and you can draw perfectly straight lines from the town hall, all right? Obviously, I don't have that app right here, but what it ended up being was right here, my wall wrecker, you know, towards the back end of the attack would path through this mortar, this air defense, this wizard tower, this other mortar, through another cannon, all the way back there, tanking and taking out all those defenses with a few hogs of my own to go in behind that wall wrecker to take them out. So with that, we got a lot more strategy stuff that we're going to go into on this, but I'm going to go ahead and start playing this attack right now so we can get some stuff going on the screen here. So, like we talked about, Valks are easy to funnel into the base, but the bowlers are difficult because if there's still buildings left on the inside, like, you know, let's see, like right here, and you drop a bowler right here, you know, it's not just going to go inside the base if it can still target other buildings behind the walls. Sometimes it'll go in the base, sometimes they'll walk. That's why I look for those dead spaces like I showed you earlier. That way I know for sure that my bowlers are going inside that base, because if you can get a safe queen walk to meet up with your Valks and bowlers going into the base, and you have access to over, you know, good solid chunk of that base with the pathing through the core, you're gonna wreck bases with Falcon. It's incredibly strong on the right type of base. You know, a lot of times you can throw it at the wrong type of base and get lucky and 3-star it anyways. But when you're using it on this type of base with a great entry, like this one is with that dead space, then you're gonna have a ton of success. Now, you might not always have the dead space. Another few things to consider with how Valks are gonna path through the core of a base is the fact that even if there's no dead space to guide them, they will go towards the enemy queen. So you can, you know, look at the queen's range, where she's at in a base, and let me slow this down just a little bit. So you can look at where she's at in a base and know that if your Valks get within her range and she fires on your Valks, they're going to go through that next wall to try and get to her. So you can use that while planning a Falcon. As long as I get my Valks to here, the queen's going to fire on them and they're going to dive even deeper into the core of that base, because the walls that the Valks open up generally are going to be the ones that the bowlers follow behind. You know, standard composition for this army, it varies a lot. Your numbers of Valks, bowlers, healers, hogs, those can all vary, definitely. But, you know, usually your spell composition is going to be 3 rages, 2 heals, okay? If you have a longer queen walk, it's okay to use a rage on your queen walk. That's all right. Not a big deal at all. That being said, if it's a shorter walk, kind of like this one was, you know, you can certainly use all 3 of those rages in the core. And you know, on this next hit that we're going to look over, we're going to go ahead and look over spells. We'll take a closer look at the spells. So we'll go ahead and fast forward through this one a little bit. Now, another nice thing to notice, when you use that wall wrecker on the backside, of course, you can direct target and take out defenses, but that wall wrecker is also really tanky. So if you have just a few of your own hogs and you wait until that wall wrecker is tanking, you know, several point defenses, you can trickle in 2, 4, 6 hogs behind it, and they will do serious work because those defenses are firing on that wall wrecker. Your hogs won't even be touched. So a lot of times, if you use your wall wrecker on the backside of an attack in a very smart place, it eliminates the need to bring a heal for your hogs. Just as long as you make sure that wall wrecker is tanking those defenses before you sprinkle in those hogs. That way you're going to get great value out of those hogs. And when that wall wrecker does finally die, it's got max hogs in it too. So those are going to come out full health and be able to take out several more defenses as well. So with that, let's look at this hit on number 20. Oh, going the wrong way there. All right. I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to go ahead and pause it. So once again, let's, once again, I saw dead space right here, and that's what immediately made me think Falcon, okay? Not only do we have that dead space right there, but we have a 2-space gap right here as well. So what I can tell you is that there ended up being some Teslas in these compartments, so they're not truly dead spaces, all right? But with this dead space right here, basically, if you have 2 spaces back from a wall, just like we have right here and here, okay, bowlers cannot target that archer tower. They cannot reach it, so they will not walk this way after that archer tower because they know that they cannot reach it with that 2-space gap. And what that tells me is that if I can, you know, say walk a queen over here and clear, you know, all this stuff, and I can send my king up this side, clearing all this outer buildings, what I end up with is an area right here where bowlers are going to go into the base. I mean, it might look like they're going to try and walk down this way at the start to grab that wizard tower, but they cannot reach that archer tower at all. So they will backtrack and go inside this base. And like I told you, if you can get a queen walk into an excellent Falcon bowler entry, then you're going to do really well with Falcon. Now let's look at our other requirement. We're going to be able to get 2/3 of the base. Absolutely. Look at this. Look at that. With that dead space, our pathing is pretty consistent. So we're going to get all that stuff, leaving all this stuff down here untouched. All right. Obviously, we don't know exactly where they're going to go. I kind of figured they would go to one side or the other and bust out. That's not how it ended up going. They ended up going down here and taking on all this stuff at the bottom too. But knowing that I couldn't rely on Valks and bowlers getting to that bottom half of the base, the plan was to bring a wall wrecker in right here. Oh, well, shoot, that was a rough line. So it's got to come back straight from the town hall. So I once again, I used that app to draw a nice straight line to determine exactly where I was going to place my wall wrecker. And the plan was, once this wall wrecker got in here to where it was tanking all these defenses, I had 7 of my own hogs to sprinkle in right behind it as well. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start playing this here, and we're gonna go ahead and pause on the spell section really quick. So I want to go over the spell drops on this. Kind of speed it up here just a little bit till we get where we want to go. Just like I said. Now, actually, I should probably mention, I meant to send a hog right in here to draw those Teslas because I wanted my queen to take care of those Teslas on the walk. I forgot to send the hog. And by that point, I didn't want her to backtrack for them and walk the other way, so it was too late at that point. Now, go ahead and look at this. I guess I could pause this. Let's see, right about here. Oops, I got to turn off my screen drawing app there. All right, so now we can draw on this a little bit. The colors are going to be off because I don't know how to change the colors on this app yet, but you get the idea. We're going to draw Rage first. All right, your first Rage, you want to have it cover the outside of the wall that the Valks are going to be beating on because you want them to get into that base really soon. But you also want it to benefit them once they get inside that wall. So basically, your first Rage is going to look something like that, depending on where your Valks are going to hit that first wall. You want it to cover the outside of the wall, but you also want it to cover the compartment on the inside. And then basically, you're going to go Rage, Heal, Rage, Heal, Rage. That's how your spells go in the core. That way you make sure that they go fast enough with those Rages, get that stuff taken out. But immediately after that, you want to get a heal down. And you don't always want to overlap them entirely. You overlap them just a little bit. So I figure once my Valks get into this area right here, that's going to be a really good spot for a heal. And after that heal, maybe this is going to be a good spot for a Rage, so they get in there deeper into that base, and then another heal right here, especially because we have 2 bomb towers in that compartment. That can make Valks very low health really fast, and that can make bowlers disappear really fast as well. So that's how the spells should look on this hit. And we did use a Rage for the Queen Walk, and like I said, that's fine. It was, fairly long walk. Sometimes you just have to use it. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I'm very comfortable doing the Falcon portion with 2 Rages and 2 heals. It's what I'm used to. So if I don't need a Rage for the walk, then I have an extra Rage at the end, which is fine, which is a great bonus. But like I said, I'm very comfortable, and there we go. So that first Rage, I think I missed those Valks. I dropped it a little bit too deep, and I did not cover that corner of the wall there. So wow. So could have dropped that a tile up higher and been a little more efficient there, but I really like the heal in there. Coming into a multi, coming into the Queen, coming into the enemy CC, got the poison down on the enemy CC, so that heal was really well located to cover them into that next compartment there. Just like we talked about, Rage to get them deeper into that base, and then right as they're getting ready, as they're beating on that wall, right as they're getting ready to break it, we're going to get that last heal down in there, covering those bomb tower sections there. So very nice. And once again, if you can get your entry dialed in just like that, you're going to have great success. Okay, at this point, the wall wrecker is going to come down. And like I said, I kind of thought that they would favor one side or the other. But instead, they kind of end up just beating the wall and going straight for that single and straight for the cannons and expo that I thought were still going to be up at the end of that raid. They're taking some heavy fire, so I went ahead and used a freeze right there. Just kind of keep that middle group going a little bit. Wall wreckers coming in really slow on the backside of this base. And it would have been nicer to get that in there sooner, definitely. But it's hard to keep up with all this stuff in real time, definitely. Especially you want to get your spells done really well on your Falcon portion there. So that wall wrecker doesn't end up doing really much of anything. I'm not going to pop it yet, just because. Here, I'll go ×1. Not going to pop it yet, just because I don't know what the heck's going on. It still might tank some of those defenses on the back end. Just kind of watching and waiting. We still got a bunch of Valks on the bottom. We got a few bowlers cleaning up. We got a full health king. Now look, over on this right-hand side, he had a giant bomb and some skellies that took care of those 7 extra hogs that I had. Took them out. I didn't pop the wrecker here because those skellies were stuck on it. So I was using that wrecker to tank those skellies while my queen took out the skellies. That way, by the time those skellies were gone, my max hogs could pop out of the wrecker and not be hassled by those skellies. So now those max hogs are going to be able to go over and take out the other 2 Teslas just fine, because that giant bomb was already tripped by the earlier group of hogs. So there you go. Didn't go exactly to plan, but it was the right attack for the base. And if you use the right attack for a base, you can afford to have a couple things go not so well if you're using the right attack for the right base, and you can still crush it. So look for those dead spaces. If you look for those dead spaces on the outside of a base, and you make sure to get your funnel built correctly on the outside of the base, you're going to have a lot of success with the Falcon. Like I said, on the bases that are you know, on the bases that it works on, it is probably the most reliable strategy you could possibly use on that type of base. It's still a very strong attack. We just don't use it as often anymore because we got siege machines, but sometimes it's still the right call. And I definitely showed that this war, six-packing with it, you know, so it's still definitely viable on the right type of base. Look for those dead spaces and practice your execution on all the other stuff that we talked about, and you're gonna have a lot of success with it. Okay, I hope you guys liked the video, and I'll see you in the next one.
Nerf this!